Hello, and welcome to our pilot episode of our reading of the Asatru Edda. I am your humble narrator, Asger Rodskeg. So, before we get in and dive right into the meat and potatoes here, I'd like to talk a little bit first about the book that we're going to be reading. And it will take quite a substantial amount of time to get through all of these chapters because this is an extremely large volume. It is, in my opinion, probably the most comprehensive and the most complete compilation of our stories, our lores, our beliefs, our ideologies, our culture. It is really, it's about the most comprehensive volume of literature, a book that you can get that's going to give you the most information. Some of it, the way it's worded, comes off very, very dry. And what I mean by that is it's a lot of information. And the way it's not written in the manner in which you would memorize the book word for word. It's a comprehensive telling of all things, but it's intended for you to take the key aspects of what you're reading, summarize it down into the ancient tradition of storytelling, which is how the ancients of Scandinavia would pass along these stories and their lores and their histories and their myths and their great heroes. All of this was done verbally because at this point in history, and we're just going to say for conversation's sake, we're sitting in the 700s right now. So they never have a real comprehensive written language to them. They had a set of written language, but it was taken from runic lore. So it wasn't even a comprehensive language, written language per se, as it was just a way for them to visually and physically communicate certain ideas and certain thoughts and certain things through runic writing. So we really didn't start getting books or things that were documented as far as the ancient Scandinavians, their way of life and their beliefs. We really didn't start seeing physical literature created until around the 10th century. And then at this point, the forced conversion of Scandinavia had already been completed. The ancient faith was essentially rooted out and destroyed in this part of the world, and it was replaced with Catholicism. So the literature and the books that we even do have very, very heavy Christian influence and very heavy Catholicist influences to them as well. So as we go through any books that we're reading, that's the first thing that I'm going to ask for you to keep in mind is that a lot of these literatures are going to have Christian parallels or Christian influence in it, but it's our responsibility to take the core of what we're reading, what we're learning, and then we take that and we make it relevant to our modern day, our modern era. So, that all said, and a nice little introduction to the Asatru Edda, it is also by the Norröna Society. Now, we are going to go ahead and get started here with chapter 1, which is entitled Ginnungagap. And Ginnungagap is the very beginning of the creation story. In the earliest age, what is was not. There was no sand, nor sea, nor cool waves. The earth did not exist, nor the sky above. There was a mighty chasm, Ginnungagap, but grass grew nowhere. It was many ages before the earth was created that Niflheimer was made, and in its midst lies a spring or well called Helvergamir, and this rests atop the Nidalfor. From there flow the rivers Svol, Gunthro, Fjorm, Fimbulthur, Slither, Hrith, Sigr, Hirger, Vid, Lipter, and Jor. Jol lies next to Helgrindar, and Leipter is so holy that sacred oaths are sworn upon it. All of these rivers are known collectively as Ileivagar. Hervediger flowed north of Ginnungagap and enveloping Niflheim in mist and cold. First, there was that world in the south region which is called Sokdalir or Urdgardar in Helheimer. It is bright and hot. That area is flaming and burning and was impassable for those that were foreigners there and were not native to it. Also in Helvergermir, the fountain of warmth and strength giving liquids called Udabrunner is found. There was no sun to shine. Between these two regions lies the well of wisdom, Mimmisbrunner, where Ginnungagap once was. When the Ileivagard rivers came so far from their source, the Kvikudropper hardened like a slag of cinders running from a furnace and became ice. When this ice began to solidify and no longer run, Kvikudropper spewed out and froze into icy rime. Then, layer by layer, the ice grew within Ginnungagap. That part of Ginnungagap, which reached into the northern regions, was filled with thick ice and rime. Inside the gap there was mist and wind-whipped rain. But the southern part of Ginnungagap grew light because of the sparks and glowing embers flowing from Helheimer. Sparks flew from the south world. The fire gave life to the ice. Just as coldness and all things grim came from Niflheimer, the regions close to Helheimer in the south were hot and bright. But Ginnungagap was as mild as a windless sky. Thence, in each direction, there arose a holy fountain which would bring life into the worlds. And that is the conclusion of our very first chapter. I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed reading it to you. If you would, please help support the channel. Hit that thumbs up button. And if you would, make sure you subscribe so you can get notifications on all of the new content that we're going to have coming out. So, until the next segment, walk always with the gods.